Hello and welcome to the 2020 season of the Majors series and season 2, episode 1 of the Inside the Majors podcast. I'm your host, Wade Hayes. This year we're going to do 2 episodes every round, starting with the final Q1 qualifying on Wednesday nights and continuing with the regular last chance qualifying every Saturday night. Our Q1 show will focus on more on-track action. Tonight, I'm joined by Majors Competition Committee members Mike Ollett and John King. All right, here we go. Sorry for the technical difficulties getting going here. I had a major server crash just as we were about ready to go live, so if we just go dead, it's because I had to reboot again, and we'll come right back. But welcome to the booth, Mike and John, and welcome to 2020.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. It doesn't seem like very long since 2019 finished.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we had a conversation. I think it was last night or the night before, during our team about how it's good to be back to the majors.
I think you setting that up for you, John.
Yeah, that was really garbled. Yeah, it was the close season was really short this year. It was like as soon as we finished Le Mans, we started to get ready for this one. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, literally, it's been nonstop, which is good. Definitely good.
So it seems that I've got a lot of audio issues here. So I'm gonna let you kind of take some control here.
Okay. Well, I guess so. Normally, these Wednesday sessions or Thursday, depending on where you are in the world, we're going to focus on that Q1 and what Q1 means for the race, because everybody's trying to get into the broadcast special prior to the race on Sunday, trying to get themselves locked in to the top 3 this week in any of the classes for either the Pro 1 or Sportsman 1, depending on your region. So we've got a big field out there today on track trying to get into those spots. John, do you spot any names that are trying to crack into the top 3? Oh, I see Eric Smith up there.
Yeah, Eric was surprisingly slow in the first qualifying run he did, so I'm not surprised to see him here again. I don't know whether, I think we might see Travis Walling at some point. He hasn't set a qualifying time yet. It'll be interesting. Of course, we've got no idea who's going to show up for this qualifying session. We're just guessing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not required. Some people may be wanting to keep those sessions, those Q attempts in their pocket, see how the rest of the field plays out, and they're not so worried about being top 3. It'll be interesting to see how after the first broadcast goes, if that gives people more or less incentive to want to break in.
Yeah, I think the advantage of the new qualifying sessions only really comes out in single class races, because then you get locked into the top 10. You know, being outside the top 3 in the multi-class races isn't such a big deal. So I think we'll see much more of this in qualifying for the Daytona 500. That's going to be the last session. There is going to be tense, I suspect.
Well, so that's honestly that's a good segue. I don't know if we have anybody on track that we're wanting to focus on, but it's just, I think it's important we sort of introduce the concept of the Q1, Q2, Q3. There's been a billion questions about it, and I suspect there's a lot of people that don't fully understand the way that it works, and the fact that each round's going to have its own little nuances. So, but For the races that do have a Q1, Q2, and Q3, the Q1 will always end at this same session, so that people can get used to that. So the 1 a.m. GMT or whatever time you are on Wednesday over to Thursday morning, I should say. And like you said, for this race, we've got the top 3 in each class will auto qualify into the Pro 1 or Sport 1 in their region. Daytona 500 is a great example you bring up, because we actually won't even have a Q1, Q2 through Q3 for the Daytona 500 because we have the duels. So we'll have the duels, and then yes, you're right, the last session on Saturday night will be nuts because we know how qualifying goes with the Daytona 500. So everybody's going to want to be trying to get in via the duels if they can. And then Indy, like you said, they got the top 9 or Fast 9. So each race is going to be a little bit different where possible. We mimic real life, what they do. If we had the Spa 24 hours, we would have Super Pole, things like that. So with our F1 races, we'll have a true Q3, that's why we named them Q1, Q2, Q3 was based on F1. So we'll have the top 10 there. So all that'll be fun. And yeah, I think there'll be maybe a little bit more urgency to make that top 10 in those type of races, especially like an F1 race where we may only have 24 drivers in the pro split in total. Top 10 would be pretty big.
Yeah, it will be. Just to say something about what's going on track, Scott Corbin's just done a really brilliant lap in the DP, and he's gone fastest in Americas.
Pole, huh?
Well, for the moment, we'll see if anyone challenges him. But he's the first DP driver in Americas to go under 38 seconds.
I see Matthew Thunhorst, defending America's champion, just joined the session, so we'll get a good look at him. Eric Mickey's always fast. Vince, running GTE, ran a 142.8. Is he still on track?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's still out or not. He's only done 1 lap so far on his screen, so he's probably just done 1 run.
Yeah, I see him coming to the line here to start a second lap.
The amazing thing about this, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in Friday's show, Saturday's show for for Q2. But in Americas at the moment, I think almost all of the top 3 spots in all the classes are taken up by UDOX or kinetic drivers. But that could change, of course.
Yeah, it can, but that's pretty impressive so far. It also speaks to obviously being prepared early in the week.
Yeah.
How's poor old Wade doing?
Let's see if we got this fixed. Hopefully we do here. I don't hear echoes.
Well, we can certainly hear you better now, Wade.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're following along here with Vince. This will likely be his last hot lap, I think.
So fast, the pole in GTE at the moment in America is 42.2. So Vince's current time would put him like 5th or 6th, something like that. So he needs to improve quite a bit.
Yeah, and it looks like he picked up a 1X there in the bus stop. I've done that many times. In fact, I'm quite worried about that for the race.
Yeah, and with he was probably on lap 3 there, he was probably on lap 3 there. So if he aborted the lap straight away, he's still got the ability to do 1 more run. So an out lap and then a flying lap. So we might see him again.
So we've got Thunhorst on track here. Take a nice slow out lap. Always exciting for the podcast to watch an out lap.
especially if then the person blows it at the bus stop as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, we've never had anybody defend, period. We've never had anybody win the championship twice, period. It looks like, I'm not sure what kind of support Matthew's going to have team-wise compared to last year, which is unfortunate, but he's got a big task ahead of him. It's funny, in Americas, we have essentially 2 defending champs.
Yeah, we do. And, sooner or later, someone has to win the championship twice, because we've got a lot of people that have won the championship at least once now. So it's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, I agree, and this could be a year for it. Obviously, you got Matthew and Christian in the Americas. You got, obviously, Jason's not in it. Lionel's back, and he honestly, he's underrated because I don't know that there's hardly a year he's finished outside the top 5 in the overall, even though he not necessarily is, in the championship hunt in the last week or two, but he's always right there. Would never surprise me to see him towards the top.
Yeah, he is incredibly consistent, and that's what you need in the majors, isn't it? It's when you have people that blow, or have got really, really weak rounds, and Lionel hasn't got any of those.
Yeah, totally. My worry for people like Matthew, I already talked about, with regard to support. Christian and Blake with other commitments. Are those ever going to jump up and bite them throughout the year? The odds are good that it will, to be honest. You hate to see that, but that's just reality. So that makes it tough to make it through 14 rounds.
Yeah, Christian seems to have managed it fairly well the last couple of years, but we'll see whether he can again this year. Blake definitely had struggles last year to commit properly to the majors, didn't he? But he was having such a good run in the Peak Series that you can understand that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the only year Blake has run all the races, the only time he's been an Ironman is the year he won the title. So that's not a surprise, obviously, but you just wonder if that was there all the time, how much it could be, how much worse it could be for everybody else.
Yeah, America's Pro is going to be really tight. There's so many very, very good drivers in it. There's probably 8 or 9 people that are capable of winning it.
I think this Q1, Q2, Q3 thing, everything I've heard about it, everyone that's talked about it, that's kind of started to understand it, is excited about it. I think those guys that are running in peak, it's going to be harder for them. Obviously, they have their bi-weekly commitments there, and to be able to be ready to go qualify by Wednesday could be a lot more difficult for them.
Yeah, certainly. Christian last year, he never qualified before Thursday or Friday, just because he was often running a peak race, and he just didn't have time to do anything until Wednesday, Thursday. So I think that is definitely going to be a factor for them. But having said that, those guys are good enough that if they qualify 11th, is it that big of a deal for them?
Yeah, should make some really interesting racing from their perspective.
Yep.
Totally. Looks like Matthew threw down a 6.67 on his first lap. Yeah,
that's up there, but it's not in. It won't be top 3.
No,
I think he needs a 42.4 to get top 3.
I tell you what, I'll go back to it. I'll say exactly what I just said. This being ready by Wednesday is awesome. Like I had a great time today. I sent my $3 in. I picked up a half a tenth, and I was happy for about 10 minutes. and then I got bumped.
And then you got bumped. Yeah, I mean, it definitely extends the intensity of race week, and for some people that's going to be a good thing. Other people that's going to be misery probably. Um, I like it. I think that anything that makes it one of our goals is to create an event that is as real as possible, that feels important, that feels like it's got a lot of weight to it. But at the same time, which there's sometimes conflicting goals, recognizes and understands that people have lives, and that you don't just spend 24/7, thinking about the major series, unless you're me. That's a balance to strike. But we've John and I have talked about the Q1 thing for a while in different facets, and I'm really glad we made it happen.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about it is, it's good to see qualifying happening all through the week anyway. But also it means that all of these guys that have set their qualifying now, they can concentrate on getting ready for the race rather than have to worry about a queue setup as well. So I think hopefully it's going to improve the quality of racing as well.
Absolutely, and right along with that, is the support races. And I mean, 100 and what do we have, John? 150. Oh, I know it was 150 plus. I don't know what the actual number was, but that's insane.
Yeah, I think we only had like 100. Only had 140 starters. We had people join the session and didn't race, but 140 for a road course is way better than we've ever had before. So it was a really good start to the year for the support race. And I think it was good that there were a load of new people in it, and they learned a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm doing some work to try and help them understand what our expectations are of how they should drive in the major series, and hopefully everyone will see that in the next day or so. I grabbed some incidents from the Europe race, and I'm going to publish them in a no name format, so we're not going to shame anyone, but just show some of the incidents that happened and what people could have done differently. And I think that will help some of the new guys as well.
Looks like we have Sean Ambrose in the chat, and he said we're losing a commentator to the Americas region this year. I'm hoping that you're just talking about Christian, although he was an awesome addition to the broadcast. I totally.
Yeah, Christian was really conflicted about that. Even like he finally made the decision like a day before he really needed to. And we'd spoken about it a lot, about what he should do and whether he should stay in Europe or stuff. But he really wanted the challenge of Americas again, because there were races in Europe that were not particularly challenging for him, and he'll always be challenged in Americas.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, the depth of the field is just different. And that's a goal that we have and that I have, is that that at some point the European region will be just as difficult, because it's easier to convert. I don't know if it's easier. In my mind, it's easier to convert a road racer to a really good road racer to a competent, solid oval racer, whereas the other way around is maybe a little tougher. And so in Europe, obviously, you have all the Finns, and obviously we've had a really good presence from the UK and I this year, much better, which is great. But all the Finns, all the Germans, all the French guys that are so fast, that have not yet embraced the series. If we just keep chipping away at it and they finally do, then I think you could say that region is going to be just brutally tough too.
Yeah, I think it's definitely tougher than it was last year. So it'll be interesting to see, particularly on the Europe was really weak in the oval races last year. So we'll have to see what happens there. It was always pretty good on road though.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
but you're right. The guys, the guys that have got some support, and particularly have got somebody or some people that can help them with the strategy on ovals, they'll pick up the oval stuff fairly easily. A lot of the kinetic guys last year were total rookies on ovals, but because they had Christian, telling them what to do on strategy, and I was crew chiefing for them a lot, and telling them what to do, and the strategy was fairly easy for them. Follow Christian and stay as close to him as possible and do what he does. But those guys got brilliant results as well on oval. So it is possible to get good results on oval even when you're not very experienced.
Oh, most definitely. Obviously, setup is a bigger deal on oval than it is on road, and so obviously the team aspect is even more important. But from a racecraft perspective, if you've got somebody who's super competent in one discipline, that usually can carry over with a little bit of effort. So, and we see that, if you look 2 years ago, like in 2018, I can remember the Daytona 500 in Europe was an absolute nightmare. That was probably literally the first oval race, big oval race for half that field, and that's we've slowly gotten further and further away from that, which has been good.
So, which of the big guns are still? Sunhorse has done 3 laps, so I don't think he'll be able to do another run, will he? Unless he's on track already on his 4th lap. But if he's in the pits now, he's basically done.
Yeah, I believe he's disconnected.
Yeah, he's done. Is Vince still out?
No, Vince has done 4 laps as well. So it doesn't look like, for Americas anyway, it doesn't look like the GTE positions will change.
Looks like Ross Banfield threw down a good lap also, 38.0. And Ross moved teams this year, I think. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, Ross is Europe this year, I think.
Yeah, but I think he switched teams too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's Elite West this year.
That's right. That's cool. That's going to be a really interesting one to watch, is to see how, Richie and that whole team does in Europe, because they've always had a lot of talent on the team, and obviously Richie himself, and it'll be interesting to see how that conversion works. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit more on Saturday in the Q2 session. But yeah, the Europe team situation looks a lot more open than it was last year. Kinetic basically destroyed everyone last year, but Kinetic is a lot weaker this year, and there's 2 or 3 teams that are a lot stronger. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than it was.
Yeah, we hope for that across the board in every region, in every championship, frankly. But yeah, you're right. I think it looks that way for sure.
Yeah, so Ross is in Europe, and that very good time that he set doesn't get him into the top 3. The top 3 are all under 38.
Oh, Matt Gilder's correcting us. Ross is on UDocs.
Oh, sorry. Who joined Elite West then? There was someone that joined Elite West. That was. Oh, sorry, Matt. My fault. I'm easily confused.
Makes 2 of us. Yeah, Dan mentioned that international is looking to be tough. I would totally agree. I'll be honest. When we went to a 100% pay-to-play format this year, I was really nervous about the field, the international, and it's now looking like it's a good and a bad problem to have, but it's looking really close on 2 splits. in international for this round, and we've never had that in a big road race before. We've had it for Indy, we've had it for Daytona, but we've never had a split in a big field race like this in international. So that would be amazing.
Yeah, international is definitely going to be tough again this year, and I think all of the top 8 from last year are back again, and there's some new guys as well. So it's going to be really close.
So it looks like we have a bit of a lull in the action here. Looks like maybe there are a couple, 3 more people that are joining. But while they're getting on track here, I wanted to share a replay from a practice session that I did a couple days ago, where I was having a conversation with Mark Torres about the overlap in performance between the GT3s and the GTEs, and just how difficult it's going to be. And really, it's difficult on both sides. And so I was not exactly nice to him, and so I'll just start this replay. And so, we're picking up, and Mark had probably been hunting me down for 3 or 4 laps. It just took forever to get to me. And you'll notice in the infield section here that, he catches me through the corner, but as we pull off, that torque in the Merc just pulls away. And, we break at about the same points, but, I'm really holding him up here. Once we get back onto the oval, though, you'll see that he gets a pretty good run on me. And he gets a run on me until he tops out. And at that point, we've got about the same top speed, and we're kind of stuck. And so I do something that I wouldn't recommend. Nobody should do this. But, we were in communication, and I was laughing the whole way to say that, look, I'm not going to make this easy for you. You got to go around me. And so you can see what happens as we approach the backstretch here. He's getting a run on me, but he's not really just blowing by me. And at this point, we're basically the same speed. So as we enter the bus stop, I'm not going to let him go, and I'm just going to hold him up. Now, we do a good job of staying off of each other, but we both lost a ton of time. And by a ton, I mean almost 2 seconds. And it was equally bad for each of us. Now, what's interesting, this is going to cut about 2 laps ahead. I let Mark by the next lap, and you'll actually catch, that was Lionel Callisto there at the start-finish line. He let me by, and I was really glad he did, because it let me set up this replay without even, he didn't know what was going on, but it was perfect. So you'll see that he's going to catch me here in the infield section, and it's going to be the exact same setup as we get onto the backstretch. So as we pull through the kink here and get to the horseshoe, he's going to really pull up on me, and I know he's there, but I also know that he's going to get a good run, and I have a really good spot on the backstretch that I can give him room. So he gets a really good run here back onto the oval, and pulls alongside it's almost identical to the way Mark pulled up on me. Now, this time, as we approach the bus stop, maybe halfway down, well before the brake zone, I just give a little lift, I let Lionel go, and I follow him through the bus stop. Now, what's beautiful about this is it didn't cost him any time, and it cost me absolutely no time at all, because I get this great draft to pull me back around, and I ended up setting a great lap time, even though I lifted and let him go. So just a little word to the wise: if you're driving a GTE or you're driving a GT3, everybody help each other out. If you help the other driver out, you're going to end up being in a better spot than you were if you were just fighting them.
Yeah, those are great examples of how to do multi-class, or even race people within your own class. The support races were interesting, because the first one up, of course, was international, and we had, I was really worried about it, because we had a lot of very strong drivers in GT3 and a lot of quite new and slowish people in GTE, and I was worried about what would happen when we got those two fields together. But because we had such a good group of guys in the GT3, we made it work. Basically, the top 6 or 7 GT3 guys went round in a pack, and we caught the GTEs, and we basically passed them all, all together. But we were all helping each other, so no one was trying to get an advantage on the next GT3 guy while we were making our way past the GTEs. We were all basically helping each other, and it worked absolutely perfectly. Oh, it definitely was fun, Dan.
We also, John, we missed one. Henry Bennett in Europe looks like may have cracked into the top 3 in GT3.
Yeah, Henry Bennett is TDF, I think. He's a new addition to TDF.
Yep, that sounds right.
Of course, he's a fantastic IndyCar driver as well, so he's going to be a good addition to them.
Yeah, I hope he races the whole year. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, if that's a GT3 time, that's an awesome time in the GT3.
It is indeed. And we got Brian Barnes out there in the GT3 as well. I've always been soon as Mountain West and Dog Bear merged, I kind of thought like Brian and Rob Gall and Bob Beltrami would be even more successful. They've always been really consistent, but I thought they might be able to pick up some speed via just the teammates and the setups and all that stuff. And last year that didn't necessarily happen. I'm wondering if it might come to fruition this year. I think Dog Bear set up to have a really good year. And again, I know I'm talking about a lot of stuff you're going to talk about next week or next session.
I see Travis Walling at the bottom of the timing screen as well. So I don't know whether he's just joined.
Yeah, it looks like he's just loading into the sim.
And Chad Barker is another person that we're welcoming back after a year and a half off. He's coming back to Dog Bear as well. He's took off a year to do some real world racing, and he's back in the majors. It's awesome to see. He looks like he might be out on track. So John, as we're watching these guys, and we've got like half a week left, all of Q2 coming up here shortly, and everything getting ready for the race. What what advice do you have for anybody really, but for our new folks to kind of A, get the most out of the rest of the race week, and B, just how to be prepared?
I think the important thing, especially in the DPs as well, but especially in the GT cars, is to understand what's happening with your car on tires during a long stint. I am gonna give everyone a little bit of advice on what the options are on strategies, but you need to understand how much tire wear you're creating in the cars, and whether how often you need to change tires. Where for sure all the GT cars, the GTEs and the GT3s, are going to have to make 2 pit stops. Now, when you make those pit stops is going to vary, and what you do with the tires will vary as well. So you need to understand how much tire wear you generate and how much difference it makes over a long stint. so you can make a decision on when you change tires, because it's a 20-second penalty on the GT cars for changing tires. So 20 seconds extra on pit stops. So that's going to be a big deal. You need to, certainly in the, if you this the basic strategy for the GT cars is 2 full stints and then pretty much a splash and dash without changing tires, and that's going to be like a 20-minute run or something at the end, so 12 laps, something like that. If you lose less than a second a lap, then you're better off not changing tires. So I think things like that. So practice doing long runs, see what your tire wear is, and make decisions on what you're going to do in the race on that. But also just practice. Those videos of Wade were a great example of how you can lose time really easily. So do as much practice as you can in traffic, and make the kind of decisions you need to make in the races as well, and see what you can do to help people and help yourself as well by making it easy for other people to pass you or to overtake them.
Now, I'm not going to call this cheating because it's not quote unquote cheating, but that was an interesting outlap plus some from Travis there. Looks like you got the reset done just in time to not burn a lap.
Man, that the metallic looks is crazy with the sun, isn't it? That's awesome.
Yeah, the cars look so good this year.
I think now he's just going slow to show off the paint scheme.
Yeah.
Well, Travis is finished in the top 5. Top 3, I think. Yeah, top 3 2 years in a row. So he's certainly got to be a favorite, no doubt about it.
Yeah, he is going to be very difficult to beat, even for people like Christian and Blake. Travis has got game for those guys as well.
Yeah, I remember the first time that really became obvious, at least in my mind, was at the Copper Classic in 18 when he went wheel to wheel with Christian for that whole main event. It was awesome. And as for Best Paint Award, that's actually something we should consider, Matt. It is a Best Paint Award, and I think you're going to see some ridiculously incredible things out there on this weekend. I can't. I'll plug our Instagram real quick. If you have a paint scheme or a screenshot or anything like that you want to have, you want to be famous, put in our screenshots channel in Discord, and I will put it on the Majors Instagram, and we've gotten a lot of views on those bad boys, and there's been some really cool ones, but keep them coming.
Now, pay attention to this as he goes through these horseshoes. He's lifting the inside front tire. He did it into turn 1. He did it into the international horseshoe. He's got.
I noticed that. I thought that it was just like a figment of my imagination, but you're right. He is lifting the inside front wheel. That's crazy.
So 37,918. Not quite there to where Scott was. John, do you have the timing sheet pulled up from before? Does that put him in the top three?
Yeah, Scott and Travis are first and second now. There was, until this session, there was no one in the Americas under 38. I think. Let me just double check.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so the top three at the moment will be Scott, Travis, and Liam. Liam will be third with 38.2, unless someone's gone faster in the last couple of sessions, but I don't think so.
Looks like he might be just making a few minor tweaks to the setup. Pick up that last tenth.
Got to get both front wheels off the ground. Yeah, we got Johnny Bell and GT3 out on track right now. But speaking of, Travis and Udox, they may have more than one title contender at the top.
Oh yeah, Steve Driscoll and Kevin Hill are both seriously good as well. So, they're an incredibly strong team now.
Now, I don't want to pour salt in any wounds. I do, actually, and that's why I'm just going to say this. But, John, do you remember what happened at the end of the America's Support race in the GT3 class?
Not really. People ran out of fuel, didn't they?
Well, there might have been a little, team-on-team action into the bus stop.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think there was an incident between two Udox drivers, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah, it might have been. Might have been a Kevin Hill and who else?
Well, it may have been one of the others I mentioned. It starts with C.
Yeah, maybe.
I never actually got to saw it because I was watching something else, but I did hear the comments and then I saw the aftermath of it.
Tactical bus stop shenanigans.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Kevin did slow down and let Steve back through again, didn't he?
He may have. Yeah.
They might have been too embarrassed to tell you, Matt. Matt just said that he hadn't heard about this before.
So there was not a team meeting.
Nobody got brought to the hauler.
You're needed in Maranello.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Ferrari always claims that there is no problem. Yeah, right.
Exactly. Oh, there's no issue.
We just got two drivers who like to kill each other.
Grazie, grazie. So 6 minutes to go in the session. Q1 will be in the books for the first time.
Actually, I think this is just for bragging rights for Travis because he's safe in the top three anyway. So I don't think it really matters if he goes faster than Scott or not. But bragging rights are always good, aren't they?
They are. Pride is a powerful driver.
I just realized that Dick Muller was only 0.005 off of Liam's time to grab third place in Americas.
What was that about salt in the wound?
But this qualifying, the split in the qualifying sessions has definitely worked. Normally, under the old format, this session would have had one person in it.
Oh, 0 probably.
Yeah, or 0.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really good to see, not only the practice sessions filled up, but the qualifying sessions busy. I mean, look how many people are in this session. That's nuts. Really, really good to see. And again, like you said, this is a huge number of these people are going to sit on these times and they're not going to qualify again. And that means they get to do nothing but practice for the race. So that's a really big win. Yeah, Lynn, that would be good. I agree. I would love to get refunded on empty sessions. I'd have a big paycheck coming back.
Yeah, Lynn, I think your new paint's obviously way too much.
All right, so as time winds down, there's not really time for anybody to get back out here, I don't think. So I think we'll wrap it up. I want to thank John King and Michael Lett for joining me. I thank you, everyone, for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll get those all squared away, and we hope to catch you next Saturday night for the last chance qualifying.
Okay. See you on Saturday.